do you have any sense of why it was the progressive ideas, so to speak, that emerged to dominate the universities? Like, I can't put those two things together. Is it that what progressive ideas actually do, as Rob Henderson might indicate, is the progressive ideology nothing but the proclivity of the privileged elite to cover themselves in unearned moral glory? And is the temptation so profound that that's the natural course of things? Like, because you might say, well, why wasn't the progressive movement working class? Or why was the elite movement towards moral status, virtue signaling? Why did that take this leftist twist? And I can't quite put those things together. And I'm wondering if you have any thoughts about that.
Well, I think over the last 50 years, my view is that the nature of status fundamentally changed. It moved away from wealth and resource into the realm of ideology and belief. And that became a key indicator for the elite class to accrue status, to say, actually, it's not just that I've got a butler, I've got a house, I've got wealth, I've got money. It's that, I know the vocabulary of radical progressivism. I know what white privilege means, and I know what white guilt means, and I'm going to latch onto this sacred religion and ensure other people have to hear the word and do the work. I think that's part of it. Okay. But I think also
so let's imagine, that's a good hypothesis. So let's imagine this. Let's say, look, when I was at Harvard in the 90s, I taught there in the 90s, that place was firing on all cylinders. And that was the same at McGill when I trained there as a clinical psychologist. I really liked being at McGill. I had excellent compatriots there, and the education I received by and large was extremely high quality, especially on the research side. And then when I went to Boston and taught at Harvard, I thought the undergraduates were great. I had excellent graduate students. The administrators served the faculty, particularly the senior faculty. The senior faculty were the smartest and most well-informed people I'd ever met by a lot. And everyone was devoted to their work to the point where we had very short faculty meetings because everyone wanted to get back to their lab. It was really good. Okay, so now imagine that we had a period of time after World War II where the elite universities, the high-quality universities, really were high quality. They were merit-based and high quality. And they set up a reputation system that was valid. Okay, now imagine that the cluster B psychopaths and the narcissists and the histrionic anti-merit types invaded those institutions that had developed this new currency of status that you referred to, which would be educational accreditation. But it was valid. Well, now you can game it. Now you can game it because it's been established. And I really see that this happened at Harvard, for example, with the promotion, for example, of Gay to the position of president. It's like, what the hell was going on with that? She didn't have the academic credentials to be hired at a second-rate, as a professor in a second-rate department. So imagine that the university's built up a reputation, a real, they were really markers of credibility, and then the system got gamed. Maybe that's the right explanation. Well, and now you could place. Go ahead.
Well, just something on that. I think something else happened too, though, and ultimately, it depends on whether you view the radical progressive takeover, which I personally think has peaked. I think it's now it's in retreat. I think Trump has got the woke ideology, whatever your favorite term. I think it's on the back foot. But if you ask yourself, well, why did it emerge? I think there are those who say it is a kind of radicalization of cultural Marxism and so on. But there are those, Eric Kaufman among others, who I'm persuaded by, who say, no, actually, this is a radicalization of liberalism. Like, this isn't cultural Marxism. This is the inevitable extension of liberalism, which became so consumed with minority rights and emotional harm that particularly within universities, emotional safetyism, protecting minorities, racial, sexual, and gender minorities from harm, from perceived emotional harm, was basically prioritized over the pursuit of truth, objective science, objective knowledge, and that just filtered through everything. And the moment the North Star became this notion of harm, of protecting people from harm, everything trickled down from that. Now, that's what I saw in universities. It's what I see in left and right in politics, this endless obsession with DEI, this endless obsession with anti-racism training, this endless obsession with apologizing for what happened 500 years ago. It is, I think, fundamentally this sacralization of minorities that is lying at the heart of this ideological revolution.